thank you very much for, for all the support that you've shown us. This is our very first event. So, who are we in the UK? Sorry, Mike. So, Tinig UK, we are a non-profit community interest company. We're the first non-profit community interest media organization here in the UK serving the Filipino community. And our mission, obviously, by our name itself, Tinig, which means voice in Filipino. If some of you here are not familiar with the Filipino language, Tinig means voice. And our mission is to raise the profile of Filipinos and the Philippines in the UK, and also to empower Filipinos through reliable advice and information. So if you go onto our website, the first tab that you'll see is advice. So what is our approach? Our approach is advocacy journalism. So we're here to advocate for the interests of Filipinos in the UK. We have a stand, and that is, to promote Philippine and Filipino interests. But obviously, we are journalists, we are professional, we are objective, we try to get all sides of a story, but in terms of how we do things, that is our approach. The next slide, please. So that's me, and just to introduce our team, because you'll be meeting some of us here. This is Mike, one of our directors, Chris, Rebecca, for Chris. This is busy. And there's Jerry. So Jerry is based in the Philippines, but he's been helping us develop our approach and how we work as an organization. Ryan is not here. She's an artist. She's also one of our directors. And there's Mel, one beautiful Mel. Come over here. So there's Mel. She's a marketing consultant. Has obviously been helping us find sponsors, develop our marketing approach. And Ariane Santos, she's based in the Philippines as well. She helps with editing their stories, and she writes stories as well. And obviously, we work through the help of many volunteers, and the two of them are right at the back. There's Samantha Raimundo, who's Filipina-British. There's Kaya. She's originally from South Asia, from India, but she's here, supporting our work. We've got lots of volunteers, actually. So we're a volunteer-based organization. And of course, Atrix Online, thank you for reminding me. So we've also got, students from the Philippines who've been helping us in terms of our website, in terms of marketing. So we thank Interns Online for that. So just to now, what have we been doing in the last 3 years? Just to mention to you, we celebrated our 3rd anniversary in August. So this is our first event. This means a lot to us, actually. So we're very proud to share with you that in March, we highlighted 9 outstanding Filipino women here in the UK. So you'll see 9 of those photos. Some of them were here with us. There's Paula Braden, who runs be here for There's Dana. Is she here? No, she's not here. There's obviously our very popular nurse, Louie Horn. I'm not going through them now, but that's what we did, for the Filipino women community in the UK. We supported the work of our places here in terms of highlighting the issues faced by Filipino domestic workers. We featured Filipino Mothers UK, so many of them are here this afternoon. And we also highlighted the work of our Filipino nurses. So if some of you here don't work in the healthcare sector, in the NHS, and the Filipino ethnic category wasn't there before. So we advocated, we supported the efforts of our Filipino nurses to have that category be included in the NHS electronic staff record. So that's what we did. We were the first Filipino outlet, not just in the UK, but also in the Philippines, to write about this milestone for the Filipino nurses in NHS. And lastly, I'm very pleased to say that our work has been recognized by no less than Dr. Sorry. I think it's the nurse. We had an event. I think it's Filipino Women's Association. You had an event. Dr. Christina Wan, thank you, Attorney Cruz. Dr. Christina Wan recognized our efforts in March, and she said Tinig UK has been helping change the representation of Filipino women in Britain. So I'm very pleased that this is what we've done in the last 2 years. So. So what is the goal of this event? So Tinig Voice Visibility. Our goal is to bring all of us together here, professionals, business, professionals and entrepreneurs, or if you're in UK to move up your career ladder, we're all here together, not as nurses, because that's a huge sort of sector within the community, isn't it? And this is our time to meet and share and support each other. And lastly, to explore what voice visibility means to us. So yes, we're really excited, what we're going to call it this afternoon in the short time that would be together. And now, ladies here, so I'd like to invite our speakers. So speaking of voice and visibility, we'll move on to the panel discussion to listen to our amazing speakers. So first of all, could I invite you please to come up the stage? So initially we were thinking of just, just sitting here, down below, but they said, no, you have to go up the stage to be seen by everybody. Let's do it. Okay. Bear with me. While Maria's coming up at the stage, let me start by introducing to you, I think from the left-hand side, Elaine de la Cruz. So Elaine, will not repeat that. So Abbey de Cruz has co-founded two businesses, organizations. The first is Coaches of Color. She is an ICF executive coach, and also Project 23, which specializes in EDI or DEI, so that's equity, diversity, and inclusion. So we'll listen to her experience and to her thoughts in a little while. And then Catherine, there's Kat Wigley. So I think I'll sit down. So Kat is the founder of Filipino Women's Association UK. Sorry, Filipino one. Sorry, this is tiredness. I think Filipina-British UK. So bear with me if I make mistakes. Just Chris would be no. She's not the way. So it's Filipino Mothers UK. So it's 2 years old, Kat. Is that right? Turned it 3. So she'll tell you more about her story and of FMUK. And we've got Paula Braden. So Paula is just like the two other women who are here, the 3 other women. She's founded Seek Social. It's a digital marketing company based in the north, in Bury. And again, we'll find out her own journey, putting out her business in a little while. And last but not least is Maria Garber-Lucero. So Maria is the publicity director for Scepter Books, one of the biggest publishers here in the UK. She's been featured in Elle magazine for co-founding the East Hit Southeast Asian Publishing Network, because their goal is to make people from the region, from East and Southeast Asia, more visible, authors and those who work in the publishing industry. Well, thank you all for being here with us, for taking time to join us. Do you mind if for any reason, if any of our attendees just raise their hand and wants to ask a question, and sort of I get cut off or you get cut off, so we can. Okay, that's fine. So please, just raise your hand if you have any questions for panelists, and somebody will go to you and give you a microphone. So I think the very first question I'd like to ask for everybody here to start off is, what do you mean, or how do you define voice and visibility, as a Filipino-British woman here in the UK?
Me first. It's a year. So for me, there are two sides of this, right? So voice and visibility on your business level, professional level, and then also as like a person within your own community. So how I see it in business is just not being afraid when people ask you, where are you from? Right, I'm from the Philippines, and my family's from the Philippines, because it doesn't really, to me, it brings a different sort of perspective into how you do business and how you treat people and how you respect people, because we bring our culture into the way we do business. So that's my perspective on voice and visibility within the Filipino business, that Filipino women business set. Thank you.
Thank you, Val. Hello, good afternoon, everybody. So I'm Catherine. I'm from Wales. It's good to be represented. Right, so voice and visibility. And for me, because I represent a group called Filipino Mothers UK. So voice and visibility is all about connection, to be included at integration, really. That is what voice and visibility for us. And then it does follow the business side, and then the woman that you are, if like, for example, I'm in here in the UK, and then all of a sudden, your psychology, your sociology, and your spirituality has been, has been threatened. And so sometimes we lose our voices. So it follows as well ourselves. So us in Filipino Mothers UK, we'd like to consider that we are the group that is trying to get that voice back again, and hopefully we are able to connect all our moms to the community that they're supposed to be.
Thank you, Kat.
Yeah, thank you. Same, actually. Thank you for inviting me today. It's great to see all of you. This is a first for me, actually, being in front of a big group of Filipino women doing something like this. So I'm excited. Just building off of what these ladies said, actually, for me, voice and visibility is a personal journey. Because I was born here, and I think when it comes in the context of just living here or particularly working here, visibility to me doesn't always come to people like me, because predominantly in the workplaces that I work in, the power, the leadership, the privilege is all in typically white men and people like that. And so sometimes when I've been looked at in my career as being visible, whereas I was taught to, just work hard, you'll rise to the top, you'll be visible because of the work that you do. Actually, I've had a journey of understanding that it's not always like that. And sometimes keeping my head down, busting my gut, working really hard hasn't always got me right to the top. So for me, visibility is about understanding the systems that I'm working in, how things work around here, mainly not systems that are made for me, of people who look like me or from different underrepresented groups. I'm navigating my way through how to be visible, but the journey piece is, not losing myself in that, because I want to have a voice. I don't want to just show certain parts of me that I can get into certain spaces. I want to still be me in all my flaws, in all my Mahjong kids upbringing as a British Filipino here. And that's a bit of a journey to work out who I am and how I can still have a voice and get into the spaces and the pockets that sometimes are not built for me. And so that's really about not losing myself, but knowing that I can do that and navigate that. And that's kind of why I wanted to come today, to talk openly about that. So thank you.
Thank you.
And because I work in the publishing industry, voice and visibility is like paramount kind of issues for us. In terms of voice, it's like whose voices are being heard, whose stories are being told, which books are being published. Just up till this point, there hasn't been very many kind of Filipino voices in the literary kind of establishment. And, there's like people that I've seen move across the pond, like Elder Rotor at Penguin in the US, and just like a few people dotted here and there that you can have as sort of role models or icons. And similarly with authors as well, which is why we've done this East to Southeast Asia Publishing Network, hoping that by shining a light on the whole community, more and more voices across East to Southeast Asia will be represented. And then visibility as well in terms of media, like who, beyond what's getting represented and published, it's like who's getting covered in the media. And I think, with COVID, that was such an important issue, so many COVID deaths for the Filipino community in the nursing world. But it had a few minutes of coverage, but I feel like that's like the main big story that we've had as a Filipino community, and it's a huge tragedy. That's, we need to be able to also represent Filipino joy and all facets of life.
Yes, definitely. Thank you all. Really, really thoughtful insights from the four of you. So I think, from what you said, it's about owning your space, accepting who you are, your roots, your background, embracing it, but as they also said, navigating the system, understanding how you're placed in the UK as somebody from a certain background. You need to understand how to position yourself, and how can you make a success of yourself based on the situation, the context that you face. And as Maria said, with COVID affecting the Filipino community, we also need to show the joys of being who we are as a community. So thank you. I think since we stopped with Maria, I'll ask you now, Maria, could you just tell us a bit about your work as a publicity director? Because I was showing this is one thing that and later also used to work for the publishing industry. But I think I'll start with Maria. Could you just tell us a bit about your background? And it's not the usual routines. You're not a nurse. You're not an accountant. What made you decide to go into this field?
Well, I used to be quite interested in going to journalism, and when I was at university, I worked at the student newspaper, and through that, I managed to sort of get a day doing work experience with Jay Rayner at the Observer, because the student newspaper had interviewed him, so I quite cheekily got in touch with him afterwards, and it was like, do you need an intern? So I made that connection, and anyway, just from those sort of experiences, I realized I didn't want to pursue journalism. It wasn't quite right for me, but I was still interested in media. And I was doing my MA in modern literature. And when I was doing the bibliography, these different publishing houses kept coming out. And I thought, would it be interesting to see what it's like at the other end of the book's lifespan? The people who are making it. And then I started doing some publishing internships while I was finishing my dissertation. And then very kind of good timing, a job came up when I was at Penguin. So someone put me forward for that. And then I've been in publishing 13 years now, jumping around different publishing houses.
Great. Thank you. And before I move on, could you just tell us about your family journey here in the UK, Maria, just so people know?
Yeah, sure. Well, I was born and raised in Manila, and I moved here with my mother when I was 9. So she's English-Irish, my dad is Filipino-Japanese. He stayed, so I used to go back every summer for the whole rainy season. So then watching MTV, going to the mall, and anyway, so yeah, that was until my 20s, and then that was about 10 years, and I hadn't gone back. But I started revisiting again in 2018, 2019, and then sadly COVID came along and happened. But hopefully this Christmas.
I see. Thank you. Please feel free to, ask questions. We know you're there, so we're not just talking, 4 or 5 of us here, so please just raise your hand if you have any questions. So Elaine already said that, just like where you is born here in the UK. What about you? What's your career journey, Elaine?
I think so. Yeah, I was born here. My life growing up was like a West London kid going to a Catholic English school. But my social life, my entire rest of life was growing up around the Filipino community that was now our family, right? We're not blood related, but we kind of might as well be. And so my whole upbringing was, in those communities, being British and Filipino at the same time and growing up in that environment. My career, almost because of that, I feel when I got to, my mid-30s, late 30s, I started to realize that as much as I am eternally grateful to my parents, I think I was kind of on their conveyor belt of life. I was kind of doing what I thought I should be doing, which gave me a wicked career in advertising and media for a long time. I can say it comfortably now, but I wasn't always. I was really successful in that. I earned a lot of money, I did really good things, and then it wasn't for me anymore. But I kind of stumbled into advertising literally because I was lucky, I went to university. After university, I was talking to my friends and I just said, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Wait, I don't know. And someone said, I'd like to try advertising sales, but I don't think I could handle all the no's. And I was just like, what the hell is advertising sales? Started going to recruitment consultants, and then I had a 20-year career in it. And I did well because I worked hard. But I think that what I've learned now, and I've got 2 teenage daughters, and what I've learned now is that, my parents gave me different options by coming here in the 70s, and that's what I benefited from. And just picking up on what you said, Liza, it's not a normal route, maybe publishing's a normal route, but I think we have the privilege now of being able to break that spell a little bit for my kids, that they don't have to think what is normal. My parents didn't come here, I don't think, in the Philippines for me to end up in the arts or an actress or something that wasn't as stable. They wanted me to have a financially secure job. But now I think I have, from then, got the benefit of saying to my kids, you can be whatever you want to be. And for me, that's my other kind of career on the side as a mum, to learn what I've learned from my career, and that you can fit into whatever shape you are determined to, and I can pass that on to other people to say, find your strengths and work out what that is. And I think that's what's ended up where I am now.
Thank you. Just to share with you, if you don't mind to share it, then you mentioned that your parents both work very hard as NHS staff. Is that right?
Well, they both worked in hospitals, yeah. I mean, my dad worked in Cromwell for a long time and various different hospitals. My mum worked for the NHS most of her career, yeah. But I think, like so many, it wasn't that simple. It wasn't just one route for them. But yeah, I'm privileged that they did that for us, and they had a good career from that too.
Yes, that's that you decided to create your own path and not follow your...
Yeah, I mean, mum and dad wanted me to be a lawyer. Let's just get it right. I proved that. I did that. I failed at that, and I ended up somewhere else. And 20 years later, I think they can say that they're proud of me.
And moving on to Kat. So, like you, Maria, the main for sharing a bit about your family background and your career choices. Kat, can you tell us about your own story of coming to the UK?
Oh well, it's a whirlwind romance that brought me here. I have to be careful, yes. And everybody in Filipina-British UK crew, they know my story. So just like everybody else, be a immigrant mom, you come here, you thought you're going to start your career, then voila, you gave birth. You become a mom, and then that's when all these unexpected things happen. Postnatal depression, and not really connecting to anybody. You don't have any family. So where will I get that? So I don't really want to go out of my house because my self-esteem was really low, and that I'm not yet familiar with the system. And it's not that I did not try my best, but there's something going on. I think my psychology that I've mentioned before, me being an independent person, and all of a sudden, I just had to stay at home and do nothing. Not really nothing, because being a stay-at-home mom is a heavy job, CEO of your household. But my husband knows this, that I want to be financially independent, but it's not happening. I said, why? I want to work now, but I can't work as a teacher. So I go to university. I go to university and ask, what do I need to do to become a teacher? And then you've got this long list of requirements that you need to comply. And then what do you say? No way, I'm going to go back to studying CSEs again and all of these things. So I think what really helped me the most is the church community that I've found. And because of that, that is where I started the Filipino Mothers UK. Because we needed something to hang on, like even just a simple question like, how do I breastfeed my child? I've got no one to ask these questions before, and it's just, even though you've got your health visitor, but of course they do not understand our culture, so there's so many hindrances to this one. So yes, my voice, I've lost my voice that time, and you see it follows. I can't move forward as a woman. But
We can stop you there, Kat. Some people can be, wait for the more anxiety.
oh yes,
Kat, because
sorry, everything is an open book.
so that's Kat's story. And we've heard, how basically a bit of their background, and Kat will share more of, how she's overcome just not with that's okay. So Paula, what about you? Could you share us a bit about your own story of work?
So hi, my name is Paula. I own a digital marketing firm in Barrie, as you guys can see in the thing. But so my journey started with maybe most women that come to England falling in love with a guy, and then you live with a guy, and then you get pregnant, and then so right, and then you decide then what do you want to do. So that was back in the Philippines. So do we want to raise a family in the Philippines, or do we want to move elsewhere? So there are choices. We can move to America, we can move to the UK. So you look at all your options. Overall quality of life, UK is the best choice. So we move ourselves to England, and then, like what Kat said, you realize when you move, you've worked your last 20 years, working your way through education, paying for school, top-notch schools. You get here and it's nothing. Your degree or your certificate does not mean anything, right? So you realize, like that in itself makes you feel very small as a foreign national in a different country. So you feel like, okay, naghirap yung tatay ko, at saka yung nanay ko, nagbinayaran school mo, and then you get here, and like, you can't get a job. You can't get a job anywhere. So
Is that how you started Seek Social?
no, so I got a job. So, it's a trainer for like an outsourcing firm, which I was doing in the Philippines anyway, moved here. And then I got pregnant again with our second child. And then I told my husband, looked him in the face and said, I don't want to go back to work. So what can I do? And then I said, okay, well, I did see it myself. He said, these are your skills. These are everything that you can do. What do you think you do with that skill set? So I was like, okay, I can talk to people. I am good at design. I'm good at writing. Why don't we open like just a social media firm? So it was back when social media was becoming a thing, but it wasn't a thing for business. So we're like, okay, let's put up Seek Social. That's why it's called Seek Social, because it's only supposed to be for social media. And then our clients that said, oh, hey, Paula, can you do websites? Of course I can, because I've got a background in that, and Neil's got a background in that management. So it grew from there. So now we offer everything because we didn't say no, because we knew we could do it. And so the journey there really was, I moved for love, and now I'm here because I still love everything the UK can offer. But it's now the opportunities, because I know what I can do, and I know that the UK is ripe for opportunities as long as you are more confident in the way you bring yourself towards those opportunities. So that's why we're still here.
Thank you, Bonnie. And Ms. Triller's on here. So you are following from Kath and Paula's story about, falling in love, marrying a British person, coming to the UK and finding it difficult to navigate, with a job, getting a job and all of those things. Your degree doesn't mean anything. You need to retrain. Let me ask Elaine, because this is your area, equity, diversity, and inclusion. I've got a question here for you, Elaine, and I think my question is, tell us about Project 23. So Elaine co-founded Project 23, and what does it do, and how can people sort of benefit from what they're doing, basically?
So Project 23 has been going about 5 years. We are essentially a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultancy. And what I mean by that is that we help different types of businesses, some that you know, some that you don't know, if you're just like every person like I am, to help build inclusive cultures, diverse and inclusive cultures, because quite frankly, it's not always fair, is it? It's not always, the systems, the setup is not always fair. And organizations typically, whether it's the corporate space or the public space, don't always have the right amount of diversity, whether it's particularly at the top. So we help organizations to understand what they're missing out on, to change, and to work their way through pretty emotive topics sometimes. The fact that, diversity isn't just this thing that we all want. Actually, diversity is an issue because racism exists, sexism exists, or ableism exists. So we help break down these things into strategy to help different organizations do it. I fell into that work because I was passionate about it, because I worked in the publishing industry, I worked in advertising, and I was senior and I was working hard, I was good at my job, and then I realized after a while that this ceiling that people talk about, I wasn't actually immune to. Like, I just thought, I work hard, I'm going to get there. And, I always knew that I worked for 6 middle-class, middle-aged white men who'd worked together for 20 odd years. But for some reason, I did think, if I'm going to be good enough, if I'm really good enough, I can penetrate that. And I after a while, I thought, in a different audience, I'd probably swear, but I'm not going to do that today. But I thought, forget it. I'm not going to stay here. And actually, I've outgrown this place, and they don't actually see the value that I can bring. And so that's how we, with Project 23, talk about that. But if you don't work hard to keep people like us and talent, people like you, then people will walk and they'll leave, and you'll lose out on talent and opportunity as a business. And so I think the fact that I come from a commercial background, I have the ability, the skill to talk in a boardroom fashion about something that's very emotive and needs compassion with it as well. So I think that's what we try to do as Project 23.
Thank you, Elaine. Any questions of them? No? I think you're all, how are you feeling? Are we all okay?
Yeah, all good.
Okay.
So I have a question for you, Elaine. So you've worked in that industry for a really long time, and you said you couldn't really bring that barrier, even when the barrier was invisible, right? So my question there is because you were born and raised in England, and you sound English, you are English in itself, but then people tag you or brand you as someone else who's not from here? How did that make you feel, sort of like in that professional sense?
It's a great question, isn't it? I mean, I think in my younger years, in my 20s, my 30s, and actually some days still today, you're just not conscious of that. You're not conscious of the fact that you're kind of being othered or that you're seen as different, because I am British, and you open my kitchen cupboards at home and I am British, and you see British condiments in there, but you will also see patis, and you will also see toyo, you will also see everything else that makes me both. But I'm not always conscious that I am different until people make me feel different, or they make, you know what that feeling is like. So for me, it requires talking to other people about what these subtleties look like that we kind of just internalize. So I was often I was given compliments. People would say, I worked in a really male-dominated space, and people would say, you're great at that. And, when you do those deals, people appreciate you. And, I think the way you are pretty exotic and you're cool and you're urban helps you. And this notion of being exotic is really just an objectification of East and Southeast Asian women. And, I wasn't always conscious that wasn't a great thing for me because I'm exotic. But actually what it means is that they don't see me as a technical director or a strategic leader or someone with a brain because of their connotations of what exotic is. So I think I wasn't always aware of it, but when you start talking to other people and you realize that that's not that cool, you can start to kind of grow the foundations of having a voice of what that might be doing to you. I don't know if that makes sense.
Thank you, Anthony. We've got a question.
Hi. Congratulations, ladies. You would be there if you were not all successful, so I had to congratulate you all. I guess for those who are going to be watching this video, or probably those who are present in this event, I think that they're going to be truly a lot of inspiration from the four of you, from the five of you, including Mommy, Rizal. Okay, then I know we all would go through some challenges. I mean, even myself, I've been here for many years, and even in my third year here in the UK, said to myself, what am I doing here? It's so comfortable living in the Philippines with all the help, with all the convenience. I mean, I'm not treated as second-class citizen, and that's how I felt when I was starting here in this country. And I felt like I wouldn't succeed if I would just be working with an employer. And I thought all the while, I work in a bank, and I thought I will retire being a banker with my life here in the UK. But I have to say, you ladies, also successful, are employers in your own rights. Were there any challenges? And I'm sure that is actually the hardest part, having some challenges. What is the biggest challenge? Because, I mean, in our group, the Filipina-British UK, I see a lot of postings there. We're going home for good. They've only been here for a couple of years. They've only been here for 3 years or 4 years or even a year, and they're thinking of going back to the Philippines. And I have to say, they've not given the UK a chance. Some are moving to America after a year, not giving the UK a chance. And I'm sure all of you have got that story. What is the biggest challenge? How did you overcome it? And how is it so far?
Hello, Phyllis. Who would like to start the phone?
Well, I'm lucky that I have a very supportive husband. And because of that, as I mentioned, I have a postnatal depression. And together, we seek help. And because of that help, I think I got better. I think so. I got better. But from time to time, it's still, the symptoms still pops in. But you already have decided that, no, I am a mother. I am going to get better for the sake of my children and my family. But now I have a different motivation. It would be for the sake of my community, whether this is Filipino community. It's basically everyone. So there's not a particular race that I'm picking. Well, the biggest challenge really was for me, it's always always I've told Lisa about this, and until now, sadly, it pops up from time to time, the trauma that I've experienced during my teacher training. So it's quite rare to meet a primary teacher who is, Filipino. There are others in the field, but it is something that I've said no. I've encouraged all Filipino teachers to come on, let's do that. Let's become teachers together, because our students need to know what we are, because some of them, they don't know where Philippines is. So it's just my husband just mentioned this word when we were talking in the car this morning, the wonderful art of determination. So you just need to focus on your goal all the time. Like, right, I want to help myself, my community, and what do I need to do? One thing at a time. I'm always told all the moms there, one thing at a time, because it's so overwhelming, all this responsibility. What do you need to do first? List down your priority without missing your long-term goal. So just focus on me. And obviously, I'm Christian and I pray a lot. And yes, most importantly, really find a community. It will really build you up, because no man is an island, as they said. So that's the key to surviving, I suppose.
Thank you, Tad.
So that's a really good question, Nora. It is what is your biggest challenge? I think, and how did you overcome it? Yes. So this is in the point of someone who moved from a different country to here, right? So the biggest challenge I think I have faced is just transitioning my mindset from being an employee, working for someone, and then working for myself. Because we encourage everyone all the time, like, to make yourself better, you have to push yourself harder. Being an employee, it's safe. I go home, switch my computer off, go to sleep. The next day, I still have a job. As long as I don't screw up that much, I still have a job the next day. As a business owner, if I don't work hard enough, we don't eat in a month or so. If I don't graft all the hours of the day, we don't get that visibility that we need. So the mindset of being, now I'm my own employer. If I don't work hard, if I don't work as hard as everyone else, I won't survive in the business field at all. So that is like the biggest challenge in me. Like my mom used to run her own business, but she never told me anything. She never told me about cash flow. She never told me about, oh, you need to diversify your investment. It was part of our family. The industry of our family in the Philippines is that they were business owners. They are business owners still today. But that knowledge was never given to me. So when I was running my own business, it was more like, oh, I didn't know that cash flow should be my first look, because then that means I can feed my family all the way to next month. And then the next one is marketing and sales. I constantly need to be selling myself, even if, I'm not selling myself, sorry, let me just erase that. So that means it's selling the business all the time. So you have to always be switched on, even when you don't have to be. So I think how I overcame that challenge is just realizing that I could be more. Like, I didn't even know I could be this person, because we were all programmed to be workers from school, work hard, and then you will move up the ladder, like what you said. But we never realized that if I take myself out of my comfort zone, which is something that you would have heard already before, take yourself out of that comfort zone, and you wouldn't really know that you can do something until you've actually done it. And it's a really good feeling.
It's easy, because just listening to you that feels like it's coming out of my mind too. You've got to keep on top of it, like a little hamster wheel kind of thing. And one of the challenges that I find is finding a balance between this, like the pressure of the day to day. I've got to keep up. I've got to do this. I can't say no to an opportunity. I need to be out there. And burnout or tiredness or this isn't for me. And so when I was listening to him, he said, some people leave a bit too early, don't give it much of a chance. I think that's definitely a thing. We want everyone to have the opportunity, but there's something for me about being okay with saying that's not for me, and that's okay. So sometimes for me, one of the biggest challenges is this pressure that Paul has described is my life, but then when I should say no, it's okay. It's going to still be there tomorrow if I say no today. And I think that's one of the hardest things for me, is to balance wanting to really succeed, wanting to do well, not fail. Like the fear of failure is very real, but also just living my life and being quite happy and content. And when you said, when you're successful, that feels a bit alien to me still, because I'm thinking about the road I haven't yet met, but I need to know I can look after myself and just chill out in front of Netflix sometimes as well.
So wise. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I see a question from, if you could just please say your name and then ask the question.
Hi, I'm Stella Singh. I'm a Tagalog teacher from Dilao, so I can need your Tagalog lessons. So approach us. Thank you for answering about the challenges, When I moved here in the UK, one of my challenges was also that was 26 years ago. One of my challenges was how to turn the reputation of the Filipino women. We were all thought that we were male-model brides, and then nurses were not yet popular. Filipino nurses were not popular yet during that time, And so how do you show that you're proud to be also in Filipino? How we show your voice? Because from me, I started in my church community introducing Filipino food. Don't get Shanghai and was how I introduce the Filipino culture, So, but being a dual citizen, I'm still proud of my Philippine roots. That's why I teach Tagalog. So, I just want to ask, what was your challenge in promoting yourself as Filipinos and bring our voice and be visible in the immigrant community and also in the British community?
Thank you very much, Natalie, for asking that question. Actually, we'll start with Maria this time. So Maria started the Filipino Food for NHS project at the height of COVID. As you said earlier, it's only in the last 3 years when Filipino nurses in the UK were given the recognition that's due them because of all the work that they've done. So let's hear from Maria.
That's very similar to me in terms of, how did I communicate Filipino culture and sort of pride for my heritage, was being able to share Filipino dishes with my friends. And then in 2018, I started my supper club, Baboy Club, and it's like a pop-up restaurant. I do a few events every year, and that's sort of grown over the years. And as a result of starting this in 2018, May Williams reached out to me and invited me to join the Filipino Food UK group. So there's like a WhatsApp group of like 30 of us across the country. And then that was just an amazing thing to be a part of because, like, as you said, Catherine, like, community is so important. So we share recipes on that and sort of the challenges people have had starting their businesses. And then when the COVID, when the first lockdown hit, we had a message come through from Kanluran saying that 30 nurses had just landed from the Philippines after the COVID travel ban, and they were feeling very homesick. And, they were going into the hospitals, working incredibly long hours. By 5 p.m. the canteens were shut, so there's not hot food available. We're making do with sandwiches and whatnot, and they were finding the food quite bland, if resist. And I sort of really empathize with that. And, that kind of, it's a real culture shock, the transition food-wise. So together with some of my friends in that Filipino Food UK group, like the Adobros and May, she does food. She's at Food with May on Instagram.
we banded together and we were going to make we were going to fundraise for £300 and make 100 Filipino dishes like adobo and rice and vegetables to give to these nurses. And within a couple of days, we actually managed to raise like thousands of pounds. In the end, it was £5,000. And so we rolled it out across the country. There was Zosha up in Manchester was cooking, and Ronnie B in Surrey. All sorts of chefs across London as well. We were cooking for our local hospitals every week. I feel like I've forgotten the answer to the question. I just know how important actually is and chaos.
So Filipino identity sa akin. How important is your Filipino identity for you? You being Irish, Japanese, British, Filipino.
Well, I think being born and raised there, it's such a formative experience and such a big part of my life. And then going back every summer, and I didn't have Filipino family here, so I didn't have that community, and it's something I really craved. So it's just such an amazing thing having started Supper Club to have found this community.
Thank you, Maria. So you would.
For me, Stella, my church should be in 5 Bay, and then what I tell that, right, we're going to have let's say a New Year's event, Filipino style, if I say out to it. So everyone in my church, and I'm the only Filipino Adventist, so actually I'm the only Asian, so they all come to I said, right, this is what we do in the Philippines, and then I just invited a couple of Filipino families, and then they came and we danced. Why? So I'm also hosting, I would say, this is how we are in the Philippines. Impromptu dancing, impromptu mission number. So yes, I think nowadays I don't find it challenging to say I'm a Filipino. I'm actually very proud. It took me a long time to have my citizenship, but my husband knows. Even at school, I proudly say I'm Filipino, even though, you get this eyebrow or eyebrow raising. But I would like all of them to get to know our culture. So I would never, ever anymore, bow down to shyness. But yeah, even with our accent, actually, we do have a Filipino Mothers UK video chat. So it used to be that I sound a little bit warm Filipino now, but because we speak our dialect, and so medyo okay na rin. Bumabalik na yung Filipino accent ko. So that's
Did you try to acquire a British accent?
actually na-acquire ko siya agad. But thanks to Mothers UK, bumalik yung accent. I don't know, I think accent happened na Pinoy. So now my students would always ask, Miss, what accent is that? And I really toned down my American, because the first thing they would say, are you from US? But now it's different. Where are you from? They can't figure it out. So I would always ask, do you know your geography? Where is Southeast Asia? That's your clue. And they say, I'm Chinese, applied back in April. But yes, just be proud of it. And everyone can see that I'm really looking very... oh, thank you. Yeah, I don't want to look about it. But yeah, that's all I need. And
because I'm really enjoying this actually, just listening to you all. It's so nice. But the question is such a great question, and for me, there are these things that we do. Like food is definitely the way in for me, all day, every day, to any culture. But I think to celebrate being Filipino for me, I think it's about kind of swinging the pendulum back to pride. I think I grew up not really being that proud as I should be, as proud as my kids are now. And so for me, it's all in all the little things. Just what Maria was saying about the stories don't always get told, right? About everything around our cultures compared to some others. And so for me, it's like the pride in just the little things that I don't even need to stand up and say, but just the pride that, I can drive in Chinelas, like what? Like that's fine. That's part of how I grew up, right? Or the little tiny things like you know, my friends, and we've grown up and we know what our mums are like. And, you know, I don't want to walk into a space and my mum's going to comment that I put on 5 pounds in front of everyone, like that's love, and then say, eat now. You know, these are the tiny little things for me that I love about my culture, but don't always get represented out there, you know. And so for me, it's just really seeing and accepting how amazing we all are in all the little things as well as all the great big things that we're amazing at. So I think it's just about being proud inside, and then it kind of shines out from us rather than trying to be something that people want me to be. No, I'm not doing that anymore.
Thank you.
So for me, how did we integrate? So I'm not going to lie to you guys. When I first came to England, I hid the fact that I was Filipino. Because my accent is American. Sometimes you can hear it. But I pick up accents really quickly. Kat's husband, I met him the first time. He's like, are you from Manchester? I was like, oh. But because I sound like I'm from Manchester. But I think I had someone in business tell me, can someone else sign this non-disclosure agreement? Because on company's house, you're Filipino and you're not British. And I was like, right, okay, that's fine. Go on, someone else sign it. And then my husband's like, no, I'm not going to sign that. Send an email back to say we're not going to do business with it. Because if they're like that, then they're not the type of client that we need. So, and then the next one is just Stella taught my children Filipino. So they go into school teaching their friends Filipino. They have little packets of ding-dongs in their bag that they give to their friends. So when I see their friends, they're all like, your daughter said you have ding-dongs in your house. And I said, I can't even know who you are. So for me now, my children are very proud to be Filipino. And they always tell their friends, my mom's Filipino. So someone would come up to me and say, oh, you're Filipino. Where's that from? Thailand. And I was like, no, mate. It's straight not where it is. But really, like, I think for us, it's just the children. The children need to embody that. Because I don't need to embody that. I am already that. But my kids, because they're British, like literally, they're brown, but it's like they're really white inside because all they eat is potatoes and gravy. But then one of them is super Filipino, she'd eat everything, right? But because they're very proud of who I am as their parent, then I kind of like become a lot prouder of my heritage because they are proud of it, but rather than me hiding it.
Perfect. Thank you. If I think this is a question where I like to share my own experience, if you allow me, because I think it's Kat that said that. I think Elaine, Kat, and Paul, not so much with Maria. That I think when you're new in the UK, you're navigating the space. You're a stranger. You're an outsider, and I didn't feel so confident about my identity as a Filipino in the first, let's say, 2-3 years that I was here. But as you said, you develop that confidence. You realize, no, I should be proud of my roots, because you begin to realize as you're navigating a new environment, a new culture, that you have so much to give. The Philippines is rich in terms of its own history and culture, because that's how as an immigrant, that's when I became even more hungry to understand Philippine history and culture and share it, with friends, when I was doing my research in PN. Just like you, my son, he always tells his friends, Mama was a Filipino, she likes to laugh, she's a Filipino. So of course there's a kind of, how would I put it, slightly stereotypical description or understanding of what Filipinos are like. But, I completely agree with all of you. It's something that we cannot hide. It's something that we just have to embrace in our own time, in the way that's unique for us. So thank you for your question. Any other question before you? Okay. I think I can already give the opportunity to ask a question.
And from Mommy Lady for that, Mommy Lady has a question.
Yes, obviously, I'm sure most of us are parents, mothers. My question is, if for the mothers who wants to start their own business, what would you advise to them? Because obviously it's already hard being a mother. So how are you gonna be able to advise the new ones to start a business and at the same time manage the children? I know this would be like the first thing that most of the moms would think, oh, how am I gonna manage? You know, because mom is the hardest job already, and then you're gonna afford another job on top of it. So that is my question.
I don't want to sound too flippant when I say this, but I think it is really hard being a mum. I think it's hard being a parent. So I just want to kind of say, and not everyone is a parent, obviously, but if you are hesitant about starting a business or doing anything because being a mum's already hard, I wouldn't flip that really. Because if you're a parent and you're doing this, then what makes you think that you can't do other things? Because there's people who are lesser than you doing this. You know, if you are a mum, you're kind of proving yourself already that you are a superhero. So what is it that you do as a parent, as a mum, as a carer, as a sister, as a brother that is already amazing? I just kind of think I want to break down that myth that just because this thing is hard, that we can't do something else. I think, no, really lean into that. Lean into that, the fact that you're already proven in your own space. If I'm going to be a bit more practical in responding to it, I think there's a certain drive that I have as a mum in business, in the sense that it gives me a little bit of a higher purpose why I'm doing what I do, because I want my kids to see that you can be anything you want. It's hard, it's not always easy, but I want them to see other forms of different success. I want to know that, you can't be what you can't see, right? So that does drive me in a different way. Ultimately, though, just building on what Kat was saying earlier, find your people. Who's going to help you? Who can support you? And when people do come out the woodwork and offer you help, say yeah. And when you've got a chance to give help back, help them back. We rise together. So, I just want to flip that. There's strength in the fact that it's hard, and there's something that should tell us.
Thank you. Okay. So I think you just have to accept being a mom and being a business owner, you're tired all the time. I honestly cannot tell you how good it felt not to wake up with a child breathing in my face this morning because I was in a hotel room last night, yeah? That I slept at midnight because normally I'm asleep by 8 because I'm so tired doing housework, cooking, cleaning, picking up the children, bringing them here, there, and doing my work in my car because I'm their driver, right? So it's tiring. I think that the only thing that you have to remember is you have to make that jump. And it's scary because you don't know what's on the other side. But you don't reap any rewards for being where you are now until you try. And if you do it half and half, then you're not invested in it truly, because then that means I have a fallback. And this is why a lot of people go back home to the Philippines, because I have somewhere else I can be. But if you think to yourself, I don't have anywhere else to be but there, then you make that job and you invest all your time, effort, remaining energy out of being a mole into making that successful, and you will be. So that it's just, don't think about where you could fall back into. Just think about where you could be moving forward in that business. So that's it.
Thank you, Victoria. Anyway, so just to let you know, we will be exploring this question when we go in our workshops. So we will be asking questions. So some of you have sent us questions, your professional or a business challenge. Some of you have sent those questions to us. So at some later this afternoon, we will have a breakout session where we will be divided in groups and we'll be working to answer some of these questions. And definitely, how do I start a business in is one of the questions. So we'll go into that a little more later. So I think this is my final question for our panelists, so we could move on to other parts of this afternoon. Sorry, 2 more questions. Okay. So I think because it's about voice and visibility, and we've already explored how important our Filipino identity is to us, and bringing ourselves, to our workplace, to our churches, and all of that, and pursuing our that part of our identity, like Maria starting her own supper club. I think my question is, so you've all founded, your own businesses, your own Filipino online community. And this is one question which was sent to us, and it's about what advice can you give for us to be more visible at work or in our business community or in our own community if we don't run our business? What advice can you share about, trying to be more visible and have a voice at work?
Well, I'll start. Okay, I start. How to be more visible. So for me, as you can see, I'm really loud already. I'm like this all the time. Energy is up there. But it's more when I learned this from my mother, actually. She told me, don't be shy of showing your culture. If it means for you, like, you offer people drinks, can I make you a coffee? And they go like, no, we don't do that here, but it's me. This is part of my culture. So let me offer you a drink. Let me offer you food. Just be nice and don't be scared to say like, oh, it's a Filipino thing, that this is our thing, because we always try to fit in the British culture, which we should do because we are in Britain, but also we are our own community. So if I get so shy and don't really show that it is part of my culture, then I kind of like feel like I'm just shoving that under the carpet a little bit. So so for me, visibility just means not being shy or embarrassed to share those certain customs, because I'm bringing it with me rather than me embodying full of what they're here to make.
Well, as primary teacher, I have the advantage to teach this to the students, and I can pick a certain culture. So sorry, why I say my kind of upswears. So that's very obvious, but I always say it has to start with ourselves. I mean, like what they said, finding yourself first, and then you move ahead. So yes, what is that question really that in your heart? What am I missing? What am I here for? What is important to me? Maybe when we have those questions, we can do our step 2. So when we answer those questions, we can have our step 2 answers.
Yeah, I love that. It's a big question, isn't it? Like how to find your voice. I think where I'm at, like literally now, the thought that comes to me is, put yourself out there and ask. I think so much in the workplace here, we think maybe I shouldn't ask right now. I've got the right time right now. I don't want to come across as though I'm pushy, or I don't want to be arrogant. I don't want to get myself into trouble, or I shouldn't ask pay rises, things like that. There are people out there asking all day, every day, and they're beating you to the arse compared to maybe you if you were quieter about it. So I think there's something for me about, I've learned outside of my family, if you don't ask, you don't get. And it's okay if you get a no. It's okay. But that's in the way that we ask, right? We ask with respect and we ask politely, but we've got to put ourselves out there and ask for help, or ask for something, or ask for the promotion, or ask for the opportunity. And I think what used to hold me back is that when I would get a no, I would be fixed in what that meant. Like if I failed in a maths test, it meant I'm not good at maths. Forgetting that actually if I just revise and I study about maths, I'll get better at maths. So there's something about asking, and then what comes back, and what do you learn from that if it's a no? What do I need to do differently? So we kind of grow in our own knowledge every time we put ourselves out there. So, there's kind of the beauty in getting things wrong or hearing no's is that we can start to work around what might be happening there and do something different. So not be fixed in it, I think, is how we find our voice. To know that just because you didn't win it one day or you didn't get a yes one day, it's okay. You can, there's loads of people getting no's all day, and that's okay. But we can get up again and try something different, and you'll get better.
I would say, joining a network or finding a community of peers who are interested in the same topics as you. And if it doesn't exist, take the initiative to start it, because you'll be surprised how many people will come on board and want to celebrate each other's work.
Thank you. Wow. So I think we're done. But here's a thought from our panelists. How do you feel so far at this point? Are you still okay? You're just thinking about what you've heard so far. I'm sure, there's a lot of things for us to digest from what we've heard from our panelists. Any last last question, okay? Before we present something to our guest, okay? Sorry. I think I'll give. But shall we? Wings up in order.
Is it okay if I ask some questions?
Yes.
Yeah, we can just
I'll take our order and you can go.
I do.
But
It's just going to be a quick question, and probably it will just require a quick answer as well from our panelists. For the benefit of our British friends here, say it in Tagalog and then say it in English as well. What is that worst Filipino trait or attribute that has been a hindrance or barrier for you to succeed? And what is that best Filipino attribute as well that brought you where you are right now? So that is learning from it. Thank you.
Good job. I know it's such a treat. Right, okay, so all those terms of the worst trait. Okay, worst trait. I think the worst trait we have as Filipinos would be, in my opinion, would be the not taking initiative in the workplace.
stating the island first, walang awareness that.
No, it's like, yeah, parang walang initiative. It's more like, that when you're in the workplace and you want to say something because you know that the other person's wrong, but because they're higher in that position than you shut up. And to me, that's a Filipino trait, because in the Philippines, we're programmed to be, if they're higher than you or they're older than you, you have to say nothing. And yeah.
Is this your reverence for elders, respect for elders, for authority?
Seniority.
Seniority, respect of her.
Respect her of person.
Respect her of her this. So I think, in my opinion, that's their worst quality, because it limits us from being at our best potential. Diba? Kasi because they're higher than me, I have to I can't say anything. And then you think in the back of your head, oh my God, you are so wrong. What, I can't say anything, diba? The best quality, yeah. So the best quality that we have is we are very good at networking. Filipinos in general are so good at networking. You don't even know. Go in the room, right? You go in the room and you're not shy to go around. And you're like, hi, I'm Carla. Who are you? Where are you from? Oh, I like your watch. Because innately, we like community. So I think we all underestimate the power of our friendliness in the business setting and professionally, because you're friends with everyone. And we kind of forget that it is of our, people only think, oh, she's just friendly, but you could use that into your advantage in the boardroom, in business, and everywhere else.
Thank you. Bye. And Jan, says here.
I think there's positive traits. I'm going to be this person that says this. I think there's positives and cons to every trait. I love, yes, thank you. I love the fact that I experienced that, just not being able to challenge my bosses at work without even knowing why. Because I thought I was challenging them, but actually, that's when the traits working against me. But I love the fact that we respect our elders and that we have an innate respect, because that's why we care for each other at all generations. That's why you have multi-generational households. But it's being aware of when it works against us, I think. And that's why I love conversations like this to highlight that. I was going to not say negative trait, but I'm just going to say it. Don't become it in people's weights. It's not necessary that. It's just not necessary, right? And because we can laugh at all of them, we can never end, but we just don't need to do that, I don't think. Particularly as women. Like, we've got enough stuff to deal with about trying to fit a certain form. So, yeah, I might put on 10 pounds, but that's freaking great. I'm eating. I'm healthy. So I think there's a little bit of something about sometimes our worst traits is just getting all up in our business when you just don't need to. And sometimes it's just the compliment of "you look amazing" is so powerful. So yeah, I mean, it's I could answer that all day, but I think I would be on a sofa with a therapist at the end.
Thank you very much, Paul and Meg. Would you like to share, Carl?
Well, and positive trait, yeah. Or mega hospitality. Pag sinabi mo, Pinoy, even sa church, sa bagong church namin sa North Wales, Filipino, they're the best. Hospitable, best food. You give them the task, they do it. So we're very reliable. Sabi. On the negative side, hihirapan ako mag-think. Pero this is probably just, I don't know. I'm feeling positive today. That's why I can't be.
It's okay. And so you're going to tell me one negative one, but we do have, negative traits that we need to be aware of as
that we care. We care about people. Hospitality. Sometimes I think we don't realize that that's a super skill that loads of people just don't have. What comes naturally to us is just caring for someone. Are you okay? Do you have what you need? Even in let's imagine a corporate workspace environment or different type of space, that has an impact on people, and they will remember you, and they will appreciate you, and that will come back to you. Whereas I think sometimes we just put it in a box of it's just nice. No, it's more than nice. That's a whole skill set that people don't have.
Thank you. And Maria?
Yeah, well, I think what I said really resonated, both counts. So I feel like I've just dropped the mic on your behalf because that was such an excellent answer.
Thank you. And I think
Yeah, good afternoon. I am Rolly Balata from Baguio City. I just arrived 2 years ago with my wife. We are having, she's just using our student visa staying here. We are all 3 years back home in the Philippines, and we are trying to put up our own business here in the here in the UK. So, the question would be, what is your long-term goal? And do you think this goal is relevant 5 to 10 years from now? And how do you see yourselves right now towards that goal? If does that make sense? How do you see yourselves right now towards the goal that you are attaining? I still I'm from Baguio, Ilocano.
So goals, that's a very good question, Cora. So long-term goal for me, it is a family business. My husband is in it with me. The long-term goal is to sustain something long enough so my kids can carry on, right? And where we are in that goal, we are actually branching out. We are looking at our entry to the Philippines as a Filipino company linked to our UK business. And for us, when we get there, the goal is to have an office here, have an office in the Philippines. I can go back and forth. My children can look to run the business here. I'll run the business on the other side because it's better living there for me. Like Danyans and I'm not like say the two, they're all big, right? But at where we are now, we're maybe 60% there. And I do feel that with the skills that we have and the network that we had here and there, it is achievable in the next, let's say, 5 to 10 years for me. And then the things that we're doing now is our children, when it's not at the 6-week holiday, they come to the office with me. And my 30-year-old, he's going to start doing admin for the business. So we understand how we we also teach them how to manage their money. Really badly though, it's been so terrible. But we tell that we talk to them about the issues at work. But so this is what happens with employees. This is what happens with and running a business, so they can understand a little bit, but it sets the mind frame to be entrepreneurs in the future.
Hello, Columbia. I'm not a business person. It's not my skill set. Although I do not like, although I do not my side hustle like campus spa, what I can. But it's a goal as a family. As at the moment, we are more focused on, because I'm a Christian, and so we rely heavily as a husband and wife that we are trying to reach out to our community in whatever we can. So as of the moment, I would really want to conduct my own Montessori school later on, but I think I'm making a dent by being a primary training teacher, but hopefully I get there. But our main focus as of the moment is really, because my husband works in a Christian charity, so I'm accidentally actually hitchhiking is budgeted as well. So hopefully we'll be able to create more compassionate-led kind of projects. Yes, that is non-profit or anything like that. So whenever God is leading us, we'll take that opportunity.
We had a couple of brands, parts of our organisation. So we had a PEI consultancy, we had Coach the Cuddle, which we're going to offers coaching for background people, by background people. And we had a non-profit called the Actual Coach the Foundation, where people who can't afford coaching can get funding for coaching. So our ambition is, I'm really learning to just be quite proud of having big ambitions and being okay with that, not being worried about what people might perceive me to be. So I'll share with you, like, we had big clients and worked with the small clients as well as small little organizations that help underrepresented kids. We work with being sang, being headed at Google, different creative agencies. And my ambition is that we make a ripple effect and get it to make those workplaces fair for their employees and that they tell truer, more representative stories in the work that they do. And that's all about making an impact and making every single employee that feels like they are underrepresented or that they're not too excited to feel better, that it's fairer to them in the workplace. And that keeps us honest. But I'm ambitious. I like my things. And I believe that I can have an ambition that is purpose-driven and society-driven and still get paid. And I believe that people who do that work deserve to get paid. And so for me, when I think about my ambitions, I want to be able to grow in a business where we are more than the 20 people that we have, that we're able to be 50 people, 60 people, so that we can do better work more, but so that everyone who works with us and everyone that they work with get respected and paid the right amount and live the lives that they get to because they work their butts out. So I think, there's, for me, it's an ambition of working with the best and the biggest, to have an impact, but so that we get rewarded. I could feel like I have got a success of business under my belt for more than just impact, for the fact that, I work hard and I want to be able to secure my kids and their kids, etc. But that's my ambition. They're kind of dual. Thank you.
Well, to say last September, like I done, and we started this East and Badis Asia publishing network that we did very early. We had 100 people come to that event, and then we had one in June. We had the few drop here, but the one in June, 200 people came. And then in September, we launched the first, the first East and Southeast Asia literary festival in the UK, and that is at Foyle's Charing Cross Road. So that was 3 days. We had over 200 people come. So it's like we've had this exponential growth in 1 year. And so I still hope in the next few years to expand, definitely want to do regional events and maybe decide internationally. But yeah, just to keep on growing that community across the country.
Thank you so much. Amazing. I think I'm so inspired with the positivity and the energy of all four of you. And I think I'll carry the positivity. I have a hope we've also been about identity, as for queer British women, so forward-looking, just, unafraid in ourselves that we can achieve great goals. So the self-respect, for we are coming to grace our day first today. This happy service readings are not to us. We're presenting you a small token as a certificate for coming over to share. Yes, sir.
Thought it was somewhere. I've come a little bit away and I think I watched these events. I've seen the facts do all different without upward.
Could you give a like to this chunk of loud community so we can hear his song? Think of like part of the share that is your past.
Oh no, but it's been quite some men. Obviously, kind of put there like it. And it's quite this is what you've always said, what we fair. And I said, but when you're all different. There's so many bigger questions, and I think up there, I've learned as much alive what anybody else here as I may. Then I tried to repeat it and make it humble one. I found it brilliant. So that's what you find that. Well done.
Thank you. Nice. Indeed, guys. I just understand. Come on, would you come there, Mel? So, would you like to sign that on so we could... We're just present. I know. I see it. So, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. This certificate of appreciation presented to Elaine de la Cruz for sharing her invaluable knowledge and expertise as a panelist during the Voice and Visibility Facility Updates to the Need in this year's networking event. And season thanks also for Mommy Cat, to Mommy Hairway B. Thank you so much. And also to Mommy Collaborated. Thanks, Timpani. And always safe. So also to Maria Garber Lacerda. Thank you so much for being one of our panelists here for today's event for Tinig UK.